let's go out to Carmen Vitali of Fox Sports. You can follow her on Twitter at CarmyV and check out her most recent mock draft with other NFL reporters on foxsports.com. The draft is quickly approaching, and things are happening, and quarterbacks are being discussed. So, could the Lions take a quarterback with the 6th pick?
I do not think it's out of the realm of possibility at all. You think of who the guys are that you're going to have a chance at the number 6 spot, on top of the fact that you also have the number 18 spot. You got 2 first-round picks. What better time to get a developmental guy in there, let him sit behind Jared Goff for 1 or 2 years, and have your quarterback of the future? I also just happen to think that Will Levis is a guy that Dan Campbell would absolutely love. I don't know why. I can't exactly articulate.
I know why. I know why. I get it. I get it. It's a lot of this. There's gonna be a lot of this.
It's a lot of this.
It's a lot of this. Let me push my little muscle up. There we go.
I just feel like they would fit so well, and he seems to be a guy that's going to be available at that 6th spot. So, do they need one right now? No, but they also don't have a ton of holes to fill. So why not?
Right.
In the future?
And a guy like Will Levis sitting for a year or 2 might be beneficial if they're. But my only issue with that is it's such a high pick to not have production from right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that too. And I think that that's not something that you even consider unless you have the luxury of having another first-round pick, which they do.
Right.
And if Will Levis who knows, maybe Will Levis is still there at 18 and you don't have to take him with your first-round pick. But because the Lions are positioned so well from that Matt Stafford trade still, which is incredible, and they're coming off an awesome season where they have a ton of momentum going into this offseason, not a ton of holes to fill, I just think that they could do it if anybody could.
What do you expect the Bears to do in this draft?
If you're talking first round, I actually look towards a guy like Tyree Wilson or Khalid Kancey, somewhere along that defensive line, because that a lot of their needs are still on the defense, which is weird to say because Chicago Bears aren't really known for offense. And they have a defensive coach and all of that. So I'm looking at guys like Tyree Wilson. I'm looking at guys like Khalid Kancey, even cornerback Devin Witherspoon out of Illinois. They need some more cornerback depth on that outside rotation, especially. What I don't think that the Bears will do, given who Ryan Poles is take a tackle, despite the fact that that is a big need in the first round. Ryan Poles is a former offensive lineman. He took a left tackle out of the 5th round out of Southern Utah last year who played every single snap for him last year. For all intents and purposes, that's a hit. He knows that he can hit later on in the draft at that position because if he has confidence in any position that he evaluates, it is offensive line. It's his former position. So I just don't know that you spend that rich of capital on something that listen, I'm going to have a lot more options later on in the draft. Maybe I go after a blue chip guy at another position that I'm not as confident in.
So I see a Tampa jersey behind you. They are in an interesting position at quarterback now that Tom Brady is officially retired. He is not coming back. So what do you think is the plan for them at quarterback in Tampa Bay?
The plan is what they've done. This was always the plan. They weren't going to be able to spend money on a new veteran quarterback. They were never in the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes. That's way too rich. They were in salary cap hell up until the deadline. And they got Baker Mayfield, and you have him to compete with Kyle Trask. They haven't gotten to see Kyle Trask at all. From what I'm told, and even when I was there, when I was the reporter, the team reporter there, Kyle Trask didn't get first team reps even when Tom Brady had veteran days off, or there was no mixing him in with the first team to see what he could really do. And so he's a total unknown at this point. And that Baker Mayfield, he had sparks and flashes with the Rams last year. And you think if you can bottle that and coach that up a little bit more, that Baker Mayfield is the starting quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers come 2023.
Sure.
I know.
It's like he's different, girl. He's going to be different. He's changed.
I know.
We'll see. You know what? We'll see. It's fine. We'll see. What is holding up the Aaron Rodgers trade? Do you think this is actually going to happen? I think it's done. I think they're just waiting until the draft, or they're waiting for some extra compensation, but this is actually going to happen. There's some murmurs out there that it's not actually going to get done. I think the momentum has gone way too far for it to not happen.
Absolutely. The point of no return has passed for both of these teams. Everybody is talking about it as a foregone conclusion that Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Jet in 2023. The holdup is that neither of these teams really have any sort of urgency to get it done, especially the Green Bay Packers. The Packers, especially if they don't need draft capital this year and they can wait, which they don't necessarily. They have a quarterback, they have a first-round pick. They don't have a ton of holes to fill either. So you can wait on that capital. If you wait for that capital, you can then designate Aaron Rodgers as a post-June 1 trade. What that does is that lets you split up his $40 million dead cap hit for over this year and next. You only take about a $15 million hit this year, which is a ton better than $40 million, depending on your strategy, if you want to get it all out of the way this year, all out of the way next year. But there is no urgency from the Packers to necessarily get this done if they don't need capital this year, and they can kind of wait for next year to maximize whatever they do get from the Jets. I think that there is a player holdup in all of this because Matt LaFleur came out in owners meetings talking about how their biggest need right now is a veteran wide receiver now that Alan Lazard is a Jet. So that's not something you're going to get in the draft. Maybe this is something that they want to get from the Jets. Maybe there's the possibilities. There's a ton of possibilities of what they could potentially want from the Jets, but none of it has to happen immediately, and they're just taking their time figuring it out.
What is going on with Lamar Jackson? Why is there no market from him? If we're going to assume that this isn't some, tinfoil hat conspiracy, which, by the way, I do think it's a tinfoil hat conspiracy, but we're going to assume that it's not. Why is there no market for Lamar?
I think this is the biggest proof of the fact that so much tampering happens prior to any of this being allowed. All of these backroom deals that happen at the combine and owners meet, all that other stuff, that is when things get done. And with Lamar not having an agent, there is no one representing him in those backroom meetings at this point. And they don't know the market. They don't know who to talk to. They don't have the contacts. And I think that that's hurt him in this sense. And then his expectations of the fully guaranteed money, which I am very much in favor of players getting that. And Lamar Jackson deserves a contract better than Kyler Murray, better than a lot of these other quarterbacks. And I think he wants to wait for a lot of these chips to fall to say, hey, I'm better than this guy. I want more money. But right now he's looking at the Deshaun Watson contract, and he's better than Deshaun Watson, hands down. So why wouldn't he want that money? But that's not a deal that any of these general managers are willing to do.
I was listening to Steve Keim talk about how Kyler still struggles with his height. Like, guys, this is how tall they are. Like, when they're drafted, they're not growing anymore. This is how tall they are. And that, he still needs to get better with, watching more tape and all these things. And Kyler Murray has been paid. And everyone gave Kyler Murray a bunch of crap because he was immature by taking the pictures off social media and his, agent sending out the manifesto and all that. But Kyler Murray got paid. All right. And Kyler Murray is not Lamar Jackson. And Kyler Murray came into the league years after Lamar Jackson was already in the league. Josh Allen, who did come in the same draft as Lamar Jackson, got paid 2 years ago, August of 2021. I was still in my mid-30s, girl. So what happened here to me is that Lamar Jackson went on the good guy side. He was the team guy. He didn't get disruptive. He didn't hold out early. He didn't say Josh Allen just got paid, I should get paid. I have a league MVP. And now we're in this situation where we're talking about Lamar Jackson well, Joe Burrow's up to get paid, Jalen Hurts is up to get paid, Justin Herbert. They're not in the same draft class. Lamar Jackson should have already been paid. And from the Ravens' perspective, this is why you pay your quarterback early. Because the market really was Josh Allen. That was really around what you should have been paying. But you waited, and then the Browns did this outlier deal with Deshaun Watson, and now the market is all messed up. But Lamar really should have been paid earlier.
Absolutely. I think we talked about this before. Where how is this a surprise? This isn't a surprise. You know the deal that was gonna come up with Lamar Jackson, and you were going to have to pay him eventually because you have talked about, even this offseason, listening to Harbaugh say, they're 200% committed to Lamar Jackson. And Eric DeCosta saying the same thing, and that they want him to be a Raven. Well, act like it. That's not something they've been doing for the past 2 years. And so, yeah, they've dug themselves into a hole because the quarterback contracts are rising at an astronomical rate at this point. So they are only having to promise more money to Lamar Jackson as this keeps going.
Yeah.
And
I mean, the more that you're talking about, and you just said that like they are 200% committed. No, you're not. No, you're not. Because you really want to pay, in my opinion, you should want to pay your quarterback early. If you have seen when they get into the league that they are capable of winning and playing at a high level, then you should want to pay your quarterback early, because really you can get out of any of these deals. Everyone freaked out, lost their collective minds over Jared Goff's contract. You just said it. Like, how much did this work out for everybody, right? The Lions have a quarterback. They got some pieces. Matthew Stafford went to L.A. He got a Super Bowl. They have their quarterback. Everyone's happy. If you can figure it out. Aaron Rodgers is going to make up $1 billion this year. It's fine. The Jets, they're going to make the trade. They're going to figure it out. So stop panicking about everything. It's fine. You just pay your quarterback early so that you can get him on a reasonable deal. But so you're right. They're not 200% committed. Not true.
No, they're not acting like it. And again, this is with the outlier. That was the worst thing that could have happened to the Ravens, to the league really in general, where Lamar is completely justified in his expectations, but those expectations are not justified in the league sense, because no owner, no GM is going to be able to do that deal, that same deal that Deshaun Watson got. And that I'm just, every single time I think about it, and the further away we get from it, it blows my mind even more, because it was a guy that hadn't played football for 2 years and was suspended for the first half of the season and has all of these off the field issues. And Lamar's like, I have been a good little soldier. I have been the one that has been the team player, like you said. I have won a league MVP, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
So why don't I get the same treatment?
Yeah.
Why don't I get paid?
Sometimes you got to be the bad guy. That's what it is. Thank you so much, Carmen Vitali, Fox Sports NFC North reporter. Make sure you check out her most recent mock draft on foxsports.com. Always great to talk to you. Thank you, Carmen.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd, or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.